Looks like a cool spot.
We are anchored at Little Bay.
It's like hourglass sand. It's probably one of the more sketchy anchorages we've ever entered.
It's like a movie. It feels like we're just living a movie.
We found some osprey eggs.
I think that might be the beginning of the trail to the caves. This is a little bit creepy swimming in darkness.
The bats are eating me.
Well, that was the craziest experience. After backpacking, we decided to see the world by sailboat. We sailed from the Great Lakes of Canada and made it to the Bahamas, where the unexpected happened.
Still not able to start the engine.
And we're gonna have a feast!
We got a dolphin fish! Let's go! This is just epic. When sailing, every day is different, and you have to pay constant attention to the wind and waves. With the wind blowing at 20 to 25 knots, and our bow smashing into waves, we really slowed down. I guess our 15,000-pound sailboat is maybe just a little too light to cut through the waves like a blue water boat.
We only used our head sail and headed towards Great Guana Cay, hoping to find a calm anchorage.
And even though it was only 14 nautical miles to our anchorage at Little Bay, it took us almost 4 hours to reach it. Sailing away into the waves, smashing into waves.
We were so relieved to find the calm Little Bay to drop the hook. We didn't waste any time and headed to shore. But first, scouting the snorkeling spots.
Looks like a cool spot. Some pretty neat rocks. Maybe we'll have to go dive them after our walk.
We survived the crazy waves, didn't get any water in the boat, which is really good. And we made it about 14 miles further south. We are anchored at Little Bay on Great Guana Cay, which is super close to Black Point. And let's go check out the other side of the world. The island is super narrow, so it's gonna be a short little walk over.
If you were to follow the dirt road for about 2 miles, you should eventually end up at Black Point. But we planned to go over there the next day, so decided to just wait till then. The Exumas Sound side was such a drastic change from the quiet anchorage.
I was really happy to not be sailing on that side by seeing all the waves crashing on the cliffs on Great Guana Cay. Oh, it's just insane. There's so much wind. We're anchored and it's super calm. And here it's just like howling and big waves. Wow. The limestone creates such neat formations, but they can also be very sharp to walk on. The cliffs on the other side are just gorgeous. It's like all those limestone kind of rocks, and there's black ones or grayish, then the really, really white ones.
The sand is crazy. It's like hourglass sand. It's so fine and silky smooth.
The sandy beach has the softest sand ever. I feel really fortunate to have this beautiful little anchorage here in Little Bay, which is just next to Black Point settlement. It's super gorgeous.
Biggest lobster I've caught so far. Look at that. He's huge.
Right, we're gonna have a lobster for supper and maybe something else, who knows. Corey's been fishing for a while now. But on a side note, I just found out that tonight the US are gonna close their borders to anyone who is not a US citizen. So this coronavirus thing is just going crazy. I'm not entirely sure what we're gonna do, because initially we were gonna go back to the US for the hurricane season and then go back to Canada and work and make some money. But now we can't go to the US. Can't really stay in the Bahamas because that's kind of hurricane area. I need a drink. Well, a little bit of a morning routine every month or so. It's really humid, so our cooling plate tends to build up a lot of ice, which then it doesn't make it very efficient and reduces the space inside our fridge. So we take all the stuff out. I built this nice little cooler with our cooler bags and tons of cushions and blankets. Just trying to keep stuff really cold as possible. And then we put a fan in our fridge and try to thaw up everything, which doesn't take too long, maybe a half hour or so. And then we shove everything back in. And usually we try to do this when we don't have too much stuff in the fridge, and especially no meat. It was so much fun to sail into Black Point, surrounded by Bahamian sloops. They used to be workboats, but are now racing ones.
This is probably one of the more sketchy anchorages we've ever entered. Lots of boats here, and it's just been lots of tacking in this really narrow channel. I've seen 5 feet on our depth sounder. Our depth sounder is a little off because we have a draft of 5.3, so we should have grounded, but we weren't. But it was darn close. It was nail biting through that section. Now it's a little deeper, and we're trying to get as close to that beach as possible because that's where we're going to fill up on water and provision a little bit maybe.
So I found where you can get rid of your trash. We're in Black Point settlement, and they have a little trailer with a donation box right here at the government dock. So no more trash in the boat. It was like a full week and a half of carrying our little trash bag.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I got rid of the trash, and there's a water thing across the street. Our friend Cody found a more convenient location to fill up water, so the two of them took the dinghy there. I really wanted to stretch my legs, so I decided to walk over and get a feel for what there was here. Unfortunately, the main grocery store at Raleig's was closed. I eventually made it to the Emerald Sunset View restaurant and bar.
are just on the dock. Hey! We are just on the dock of Emerald Restaurant and we're getting some water because there's free water here. You guys are really nice, so we're just waiting to turn it on and fill up some water.
Hey,
What's your name?
Dante,
John 44. What's your favorite thing about Black Point?
in the water.
Yes, sir. So refreshing. Too bad the restaurant was closed due to the virus. It looked like such a nice place to hang out at.
Laundry day too?
Yeah, well, it's $4.25 to do a little load over there, so I'd rather just do it by hand. A little annoying with bed sheets though.
Oh, here comes our water delivery from our good friend Cody from Sailing Vinyasa.
Come on, get your water.
You're the man. Thanks so much, eh?
Oh, this is awesome.
It took a little while actually to get it all filled. Filter that way.
Oh, okay.
But I filtered it into the thing at least.
We came up with the idea of hooking up a spare water pump to our old 12-volt lead-acid battery that we had lying around to fill up our water tank.
Probably lift up, like I said, about...
This is working though. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Probably kill this battery after a while, but then I can just charge it up. It's just a little bit of a long process, but we just hung out on the bow and chatted. Much easier than filling it up with jerry cans by hand.
It was 10 times easier to sail out of Black Point than coming in.
And we're off.
We had the right wind angle without needing to tack back and forth. Beautiful day to be leaving Black Point settlement. We have water, no food though, but we have water. So we're gonna head over to Oven Rock, which is right next to Farmer's Cut, which is the one we're gonna be taking to cross over to Georgetown and do a bit of provisioning and get some gas for the dinghy.
Yeah, we should.
That is so pretty.
I do like those colors.
Those colors, like exactly like this.
If you're the owner of this sailboat, can you tell that Alex loves the colors?
That's nice. Well, this seems to be a continuous thing here when we go into anchorages, going through extremely shallow areas, and you gotta stare at the depth counter. We're getting as low as 5.2 and we draw 5.3. We have noticed our depth is a little off, maybe close to a foot in the opposite direction, so we have an extra foot underneath us when it says 5.3. But yeah, it's still very nerve-wracking. Every time we come into an anchorage, we're essentially just skimming the bottom. It's been a little bit scary, but at least we're getting used to sailing and being able to control our speed a lot better coming into anchorages and maneuvering around boats and such.
And we've started leading the way into quite a few of these anchorages with our friend from Vinyasa, because we use Aquamap's charts and they have navionics, and our charts seem to be much more accurate for the depth versus theirs. There's so many places where it shows as if they ran aground, or so many anchorages that they can't even go into if they were to follow their navionics charts. So Aquamaps is definitely really, really good for the Bahamas. So, it's kind of crazy. So yesterday we went in town at Black Point settlement, and that was kind of our first really contact and real knowledge and grasp onto the coronavirus, other than just looking online. And apparently as of yesterday, the Bahamas have shut down. They're kind of on lockdown. And also all of the Bahamas have a curfew. So by 9 o'clock you're supposed to be in, not outside and exploring. And we also have less than a month left on our cruising permit. And we can't really go to the States. So right now we're going to be heading to Georgetown so that we can try to extend our cruising permit, get some gas for the dinghy, and try to get as much fresh provisions as possible. Luckily, we loaded the boat with tons of non-perishables when we were in the US, so that's good. At least we've got food for quite a while. So anyways, we're kind of taking it all day by day, but it's just insane. I never really thought we'd live through that. It's like a movie. It feels like we're just living a movie. So it all comes down to having water. As for the diesel for the boat, we've got 3 full jerry cans and a full tank, but we still don't have any engine 2 months later. So at least there's lots of wind, which is really good.
Okay, go ahead.
We stopped at Oven Rock on Great Guana Cay because it was the perfect spot to stage our exit to Farmer's Cut. We also heard of some nearby caves where people do some scuba diving.
That's all tiny little corals. Such a different beach. Here's Oven Rock.
We found some osprey eggs.
Can we have one? They'll catch us some fish. That'd be nice.
Maybe they're abandoned.
They look like regular chicken eggs.
They're not very big, eh?
We knew there was a trail somewhere close by that led to the caves. But where?
So I think we did find a trail this time. The other one just did a little loop. But if you park your dinghy by Oven Rock and just walk north all the way to the end of the beach, there's these little cairns or rock piles. I think that might be the beginning of the trail to the caves. Follow.
These are cool bushes. I know. I might be screwed on the swimming kit, but I think I got a little bit of pressure relief. That's actually probably really good snorkeling.
Guana Cay Island is only 0.2 mile wide here. So we quickly reached the viewpoint of the Exumas Sound and a little cave. It's gorgeous. The trail led us to 70 feet of elevation before veering off into the center of the earth.
Cool. Cool beans. Going down into the depths.
Well, we have a couple of headlamps. Actually, the lighting is pretty decent.
Well, here,
Yeah.
I think we go down into dungeon. Where Davy Jones is localized.
Yeah, no, it's water.
If that's water,
It
then
is
should
water.
be there.
You can see.
it's real deep over here.
What?
Hey, there's like shrimps. Shrimp. Little shrimp. racing. The Corey just went in. I've gotta say, this is a little bit creepy swimming in darkness, and I don't see the bottom everywhere. Corey is just going for it.
This cave was so different than any other cave we had been in. Snorkeling in it brought caving to a whole nother level. You usually don't see very far into a cave, and by adding the underwater components, it really made it difficult and even felt darker.
These things are like eating us alive. It was so weird how these little shrimp were biting us. Kind of itchy.
And about, I don't know, 8 feet down, the water starts to get really warm, which is kind of counterintuitive. But I was a little too afraid to dive much deeper. One time when I came up after diving, I smashed my head on a stalactite. Not fun.
And the water is super salty.
So cool. Definitely eerie. There's some big caverns that you can't get to without some serious dive equipment or some really non-fearful people that can dive farther free diving, and I'm not one of them.
Have found another passage.
Oh, there's a bat.
Oh yeah, it did say that there was some bats.
I'm worming my way through here. The bats are eating me. One just flew by my foot. Oh God, they're coming for me. I kind of want to go over there because it looks like there's an entrance, but all right, we're gonna try. Brave the bats. All right.
Still recording.
Passing on over. Oh boy. So as you can see, there's not a lot of room in here. I'm not wearing a shirt, so this is hard on the belly. It looks like it might get narrower, but it kind of looks like it continues around that bend, but I can't be sure. Bats are flying everywhere.
There's a bit of a crack over there, but without any pants, I don't really want to crawl through that. It's all like rocks.
Why are you not wearing pants?
Well, I was swimming. Well, that was the craziest experience. Hey.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Diving down, well actually Corey did the diving and I just float, so I couldn't really dive down. But it was so special. And then if one of you in front of you had like flipped the bottom, then you couldn't see anything because of the mud though. Oh, sun! I love this place. Ew.
We decided to test our luck at catching supper, but we were really having trouble finding any coral heads.
Are we finding corals? I'm hungry for supper.
I'm not finding much here. We were hoping to find some ledges and stuff here for lobster, but I don't know. Poke your head in.
Okay. I just wanted to turn back around. It's so stressful. Don't like this. The sea is providing for us.
That's a monster.
With the mahi-mahi that they caught. My first lobster that I catch. Woo! Wow, what a day at Black Key.